the book of Sirach, chapter 39, starting at verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all honor and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. All praises, blessings, honor be to the Most High, whose name is YAHAWAH, and our Lord and Savior, the deliverer of the nation of Israel. His name is YAHAWASHI. That is the power of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom, Labakaryam Shah, Yasharala. Peace to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, all 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. Much respect to the brothers who's doing this work in truth, in all righteousness and sincerity, for the second coming of our Lord and Savior, YAHAWASHI HaMashiach. Double honors to the elders, the bishops, and apostles, the great millstone, the one who taught me this truth according to the Bible. Peace, salutation to all the sincere listeners out there listening to this gospel, the new song. I open up this lesson here in the book of Ecclesiasticus 39, also known as Sirach, verse 1. It says, we will be occupied in prophecies in these times, because that is where we are. That is where we are in prophecy. The whole world, a vast majority of this world, will know the true and living power, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. It said, all eyes shall see him, even they that pierce him. Because all of this article here that I'm about to get into, all of this is ushering the war to end all wars, because Iran is going to attack or respond to Israel. Israel is going to respond back. America is going to get involved. Russia is going to join. China is going to join. The NATO nations are going to join. It's going to be the East versus the West. And all these prophecies, if you can understand how where we are in prophecy, so many things are happening so fast, we can't even keep up, because those are the times. Those are those times. Let's go to the book of Joel. It was not part of the lesson, but the Spirit says to go there. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 2, and it reads, this is the Lord's doing. The Lord is stirring up all these armies to fight. It says, Joel 3, verse 2, I will also gather all nations, because I just quoted it. I just said Iran is going to respond to Israel. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Then America is going to join the fight, officially join the fight. And then Russia is going to respond. And then China is going to jump in. And then all the nations are going to go back. So back and forth. This is the war to end all wars. So we're one step closer to the coming of our Lord and Savior, YAHAWASHI HaMashiach. Okay, so let's continue. Joel 3, verse 2. It says, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is also YAHAWASHAPHAT, which is the valley of decision. The valley of decision. And I would plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. Yes, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Jacob. You're scattered into all these nations, so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American, and the speckled bird. Yes, we're into all these nations, looking like all these nations. But if the seed goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that is the promised seed. That is the lineage. Okay, so what the Lord is stirring up all these nations to judge them. Okay, because what? It says, I'll read that again. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. Remember, Israel was a people before it was a place. Okay, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Because this place right now, Jerusalem, is going to be leveled. This is what Jerusalem is going to look like very soon. It's gonna be destroyed, because that is prophecy, because it has to be built back up in the kingdom. Okay, so this is very very prophetic, the times that we're in. So let's continue here. Let's read this article. This is from a website called the Pro News. It says extensive reports in the Israeli media about health effects of a nuclear explosion. They give advice on what the general population should do. So the article is dated today. Okay. It says the Iranian threat is coming true. Because that's all prophecy. In the book of 2nd Ezra, it says, behold, a horrible vision coming from the east. So all these dragons of Arabia, all these Arab countries that are encroached and surrounding Israel, they're going to team up and they're going to level, with the help of Russia, they're going to level Israel. The Iranian threat is coming true. Tehran has said it will strike Israel within the next 48 hours. Israeli reports, media reports. Meanwhile, Israel is preparing for all possibility military scenario, whether it's in the north or in the south. According to the Wall Street Journal, Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei, I'm not sure if I pronounced it right, but hey, was presented with several plans to strike Israel, including a missile attack on Haifa, targeting the Demonia missile factory, or the deployment of a medium-range crisis cruise missile. Sorry, my mind was somewhere else. I apologize for that. Let's continue here, because that brought me up to another precept here. Let's go to the book of, I think I want to get Isaiah, the book of Isaiah 9, verse 5. It says, Isaiah 9, verse 5. It says, For every battle of the warrior, it is with confused noise. Okay? In the older days, wars were fought with swords and spears and shields and bucklers, and they had those different things. It says, for Isaiah 9, verse 5, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. That's back then, it was very hands-on type of combat. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Are you listening to this? For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments roll in blood. But this shall be with burning, fuel, and fire. This is what we're seeing today. This is what you're going to see. That's the mushroom cloud, that scroll, okay? It's all prophetic. However, the primary threat from Iran stems from its anticipated nuclear capability. According to the reports, this feature could be finalized within months. Israel's allies have pledged protection, and Israel's home front command has not changed its guidelines. However, the nuclear threat remains a major concern for Iran. So I just quoted that earlier, that all these nations will have to join Israel and America in this fight, the NATO nations, because they have that alliance, that treaty. If one nation, be it one of the NATO nations or EU, gets attacked, they all have to respond. And obviously the BRICS is on the other side doing the same thing. But all these nations right now are all these from Syria to Egypt to Yemen to Iran. If you look at the geography map, they're all surrounded in this very proximity of Israel. So the moment Iran responds to a retaliated strike, America will join in. So that's why this is also prophetic, because of prophecy. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 49, verse 20. It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, that he have taken against Edom. Yes, Edomites are currently ruling that land today. It says, and his purposes, that he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. And here's the point. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. See, so right now, because of this whole conflict here that started, well, it didn't start back then, but this whole conflict in that region, all these other nations have to come in to form alliances and to support their allies. But it says right here, it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay, so now let's go to Jeremiah 50, verse 45, I believe it is. 1 second. Jeremiah 50, verse 45. Yes, very similar, but it says Jeremiah 50 verse 45. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord. This is not my words. This is the words of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Okay? Therefore, hear ye the counsels of the Lord, that he have taken against Babylon, that is America, in the scriptures, and his purposes, that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Okay? Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, because it is prophesied in the Bible that America will be destroyed in 1 hour. Revelation 18 verse 10, Revelation 18 verse 17, Revelation 18 verse 19. In 1 hour, that great city will come to naught, and Jerusalem will also be desolate. Let's go to bear with me for 1 second here. I want to get Zechariah. Sorry, I think Zechariah. No, Zephaniah. I'm looking at. Bear with me for 1 second. Yes, Zephaniah 2 verse 4. It says, "For Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation, and they shall drive out Ashdod at noonday." These are all parts of Israel today, and so because that Ashdod is what modern day Tel Aviv, right? At noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Yeah, because it's going to be destroyed, and this is all prophetic, right? Let's continue here. It says, "However, the primary threat for Iran stems from its anticipated nuclear capability. According to the reports, this feature could be finalized within months. Israel's allies have pledged protection, and Israel's home front command has not changed its guidelines. However, the nuclear threat remains a major concern for Iran." An IDF, that stands for Israeli Defense Force, spokesman noted on Thursday that Israel is equipped with multiple layers of defense against the Iranian threat. And although Iran is not expected to target civilian sites, the possibility of a nuclear attack is not far off. See, this is the problem. All these countries right now, all these major players, they all have nukes, right? Nuclear warheads. What happens to the body after a nuclear attack? When exposed to nuclear radiation, cells in the human body suffer damage to their genetic material DNA. This damage can occur either directly through DNA breakage or indirectly through the generation of toxic free radicals that cause oxidative DNA damage. If the damage is limited to one of the DNA strands, the cell can potentially be repaired. However, if both strands are damaged, the injury is severe, stopping cell division, leading to defective cells or causing the cell to self-destruct. Exposure to radiation can also trigger another process known as apoptosis, or programmed cell death. In this process, the cell kills itself because of the radiation, triggers signal that accelerate DNA breakage, leading to the rapid death of the cell. The harmful effects of radiation exposure become apparent when the level exceeds 1 gray unit. Lethal radiation occurs at the level of 10 gray units. Exposure to radiation causes general and physical damage, and specific damage to exposed skin manifests and blistering redness and ulceration of the skin. At lower levels of radiation, these skin problems can appear within 12 to 20 days after exposure, while at the higher levels, skin lesions and burns can appear within days. After months to years after exposure, small blood vessels complications may occur due to vascular cell damage. Radioactive radiation also causes a number of general symptoms. This is going to spike this is definitely going to spike the production and the price of potassium iodide. This definitely will, because that's one of the things that they use to put into the body to try to protect against this stuff. Initially, the affected person may experience nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, fatigue, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and dehydration. At radiation levels above 10 gray units, symptoms may appear within 5 to 15 minutes. At levels lower than 2 to 3, Symptoms may not appear until 12 hours after exposure. The severity of the symptoms is also indicative of the victim's recovery prospects. Numerous and severe symptoms indicate exposure to a high and potentially fatal level of radiation. Radiation also affects the blood system, which blood cells undergo apoptosis and bone marrow cells are destroyed, stopping the production of new blood cells. Over the following weeks, continuous cell death leads to life-threatening internal bleeding and severe infections, possibly resulting in systemic failure and death. That's a horrible way to go out. The digestive system is also affected by radiation. The cells that are in line with the digestive tract are destroyed, and without new cells from the bone marrow, ulcers can develop along the esophagus, stomach, and intestines. This leads to bacterial overgrowth, fatal infections, along with loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain, dehydration, weight loss, and bloody diarrhea. That is horrible. In addition to these effects, radiation damages to the brain and peripheral nervous system. Radiation levels above 30 GY can cause death within days, and levels above 100 can cause death within hours. The exact mechanism of death is not fully understood, but involves significant general cellular damage and severe brain damage, resulting in hemorrhage, cerebral edema, and brain destruction. This is why you're seeing a lot of the rich people across the earth are taking their money, taken out of the stock markets, so on and so forth, and they're building these bunkers. And the scriptures also talk on that as well. So this is the power that we serve. YAHAWASHI is to be feared. He is the only power that can declare the end from the beginning. Okay? A few years ago, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which I always said, the sentence of food and drug should never go in the same sentence, because the food that they're giving us today, it is very unhealthy and it's very polluted, and it makes you sick. So now you need the drugs, but you got to eat. You need the drugs, you got to eat. You get the picture, so on and so forth. So Food and Drug Administration should never be in the same sentence. Anyhow, approve a radiation treatment developed in Israel that comes from the placentas of the birth mothers. So they're taking the placentas from the birth mothers, and they say they're gonna put that back in the treatment, which allowed them to have a new. Let me continue right here. So this treatment allows the body to produce new healthy blood cells to replace those damaged by nuclear radiation. The innovative treatment developed by Pluristem, a company based in Haifa, is known as PLX-R18. It is designed to treat severe radiation injuries in the event of a nuclear attack. Research and development was conducted on animals, and clinical trials involving nuclear radiation on humans are prohibited. The experimental results show a significant improvement in the survival rates of animals treated with PLX-R18. This treatment is carried out by placentas of the generators, which are subject to a specific procedure resulting in an injectable solution. This injection is given into the muscle and will be given within 96 hours after the exposure of nuclear radiation. It facilitates the production of new types of blood cells, leukocytes, white blood cells, red blood cells carried to the oxygen, and patella is responsible for blood clotting. So now let's continue for another article here, because this is says both Israel and Iran now warn of imminent nuclear attacks. Residents of the following countries shall take first potassium iodide pill. Residents of the following countries should take the first potassium iodide pill now: Iraq, Iran, Syria, Turkey, Jordan, Israel, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Armenia. I don't want to open this any further, but all those surrounding nations, none of them are safe, because once these nations responded, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Israel has a nuke or it's called like the Samson effect, where they wanna, if they get nuke or whatever, they're gonna respond right away. So all these nations are not safe. So I brought up an article here really about potassium iodide because I quoted it. It says, see, what is potassium iodide and what it is used for? Potassium iodide, Ki, is a chemical compound that can be used to protect the thyroid gland from possible radiation injury caused by radioiodine. Some radiological emergencies may release large amounts of radioiodine in the environment. So yeah, this is what I was quoting earlier, because the sales of this thing here is going to go through the roof because they know what's coming. And let's continue here. It says U.S. restricts travel for Israel staff as Iran attack fears rise. Salaki. You see, let's go to, let me see 1 second. Bear with me for 1 second here. We're going to the book of, we're going to go to the book of Zephaniah. 1 second. Okay, let's see this now. Let's continue. It says, U.S. restricts travel for Israel staff as Iran attacks fears on the rise. Israel military vow it will defend the country and respond with expectations mounting that Tehran will soon strike for the attack on its embassy in Syria that killed a number of senior commanders. I don't want to play that video. It says, okay, let's go. The United States have restricted travel for its staff in Israel as fears grow of an imminent retaliatory strike by Iran. Let me go to the scriptures here. I'm going to the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, starting at verse 1. But I'm going to read it in the NLT, the New Living Translation. It says, what sorrow awaits rebellious, polluted Jerusalem, the city of violence and crime. Zephaniah 3 verse 1 in NLT. I'll repeat it again. It says, what sorrow awaits rebellious, polluted Jerusalem, the city of violence and crime. Okay. It continues. It says, no one can tell it anything and refuses correction. Then Netanyahu says he's going to refuse. He's not going to listen to Biden. He's not honoring what the United Nations court says, upheld what the decision they made. He's not listening to no one around. So it says this, verse 2, no one can tell it anything. It refuses all correction. Okay, these are the scriptures, okay? It does not trust in their Lord or draw near to its God. Its leaders are like roaring lions, hunting for their victims. Its judges like ravenous wolves at evening time. Man, you see, the power that we serve is a power to be feared and needs to be reverenced and to give the utmost respect for. You see, because the Lord is not at all in these people's thoughts. Because if they knew, they would have not done what they're doing currently. Let's go now to the book of Numbers 35 verse 33. It says a lot of bloodshed is coming on both sides. A lot of bloodshed is coming on both sides. So it says, Numbers 35 verse 33. It says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Whew. Barakateh Yahawah, Barakateh YAHAWASHI, call Allah YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, all praises to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. See, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem issued a security alert Thursday restricting its employees and their family members from personal travel outside of Greater Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Ben Er Shiva areas until further notice, out of an abundance of caution. Okay, let's go to the book of 2 Samuel, I believe what I want here. Bear with me for 1 second here. 2 Samuel 4 verse 11. It says, how much more when wicked men have slain a righteous person in his own house upon his bed? Shall I not therefore now require his blood at your hand and take you away from the earth? Read that again. Slow it down. 2 Samuel 4 verse 11. How much more when wicked men have slain a righteous person in his own house upon his bed, shall I not therefore require his blood of your hand and take you away from the earth? That's what the Lord is asking. Okay, so let's continue. It says, the warning comes as Israel's military vow it would defend the country and respond, with expectations mounting that Tehran will soon strike back for the attack on its embassy in Syria that killed a number of senior commanders. That the exchanges have raised fears that Israel-Hamas war that has devastated the Gaza Strip could escalate into a wider conflict. 100%, because I quoted already Joel, the 3rd chapter. This is going into World War III. This is the war to end all wars, and this is the final war. Okay, so it will be like a time like never been seen on this earth. Israel never claimed responsibility for the airstrike of its rivals consulate in Damascus, but Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said earlier this week that Israel must be punished, and it shall be, for what he considered an effective attack on Iranian soil. The U.S. has promised support for its ally in the face of Iranian threats. That's why I just read Jeremiah 49 verse 20. The least of the flock shall draw them out. See, that's why I said, because now you're drawing America into this conflict. The least of the flock. Israel's that little landmass surrounded by all these Arab nations, and now America have to join in. So it says, that's why I said the least of the flock shall draw them out. The U.S. have promised support for its ally in the face of Iranian threats, and work to persuade Tehran to avoid significant escalation. But Israel has signaled its readiness for whatever retribution may be coming. Did I not just read Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter? Let's go again. Zephaniah 3 verse 1. What sorrow awaits rebellious, polluted Jerusalem, the city of violence and crime. Remember, the true meaning of Jerusalem is the city of peace. Yerushalayim, that means the city of peace. There's no peace there right now. That's another clue. Okay? No one can tell it anything. It refuses all correction. Israeli defense minister. Let me start over here. But Israel has signaled its readiness for whatever retribution may be coming. Israeli defense minister Gallant said Thursday night that a direct Iranian attack will require an appropriate Israeli response against Iran, while an Israeli Defense Force spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said that the country was alert and highly prepared for a variety of scenarios. Whoever harms us, we will harm them, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also said on Thursday as he visited an airbase. We are prepared to meet all of the security needs of the state of Israel, both defensively and offensively, he added. In case you don't know, this is Bibi Netanyahu right here, Benjamin Netanyahu. The growing tensions it says Middle East, but we know that area is the Levant, which is the proper term is West Asia. Okay, the growing tensions in West Asia come as Palestinians in Gaza mark somber Eid celebrations this week amid severe food shortages. Despite Israeli promises to allow more humanitarian aid into the enclave, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said Thursday that famine in Gaza was imminent, after U.S. Aid Administrator Samantha Power said a day earlier that it was credible to assess that famine had already begun in the territory. So that leads me now to the book of Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah I want. Isaiah 66, verse 16. It says, "For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." The Lord is about to visit this place, and he's about to delete a lot of people. So the Lord is about to delete a lot of people. The slain of the Lord, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Okay. Where was I? It says more than 33,600 people have now been killed in Gaza, the enclave health ministry said in a 6-month war since the Hamas-led attack on Israel on October 7th, which killed an estimated 1,200 people. The militant group political leader Ishmael Haniyeh says Hamas was still seeking a ceasefire deal despite the deaths of his 3 sons in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza earlier this week, but talks to secure truce and release the remaining hostages remain deadlocked. It remained unclear whether Iran's retaliation will come in the form of a direct attack, or though some of the web of Iranian-backed groups have already waged attacks from Iraq, Lebanon, Yemen in recent months. Tehran has far avoided direct confrontation with Israel or Washington because both countries they have their own they fight in proxy wars. That's why it says. But Iran Foreign Minister Hussein, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this man's last name, said Thursday that legitimate defense with the aim of punishing the aggressor, who is necessary in the wake of the consulate strike, accused Israel of targeting diplomatic premises in violation of international law, according to the Iranian state-run news agency IRNA. So all the gloves are off. Nobody's following any kind of rules. It's an all-out war. Everybody's doing their own thing because, you see, they're not regarding anything. Because, and I read that earlier, and it's so powerful. Zephaniah 3, verse 2. No one can tell it anything. It refuses correction. You see? It does not trust in the Lord or draw near its God. But to see, the point is nobody can say anything because the Lord, it's YAHAWASHI. It is putting that Pharaoh spirit on all these leaders because the Lord raises them up to show his power. It says, sorry, but you know what? I'm not even going to this any further, but let me just close off. The Pentagon said Thursday that U.S. Commander for the Middle East, General Michael Kurilla, has moved up his trip to Israel so he could meet with Israeli military leadership and discuss current security threats. President Joe Biden says Wednesday that Iran was threatened to launch a significant attack on Israel and that the U.S. commitment to Israel security threats from Iran and its proxies remained ironclad. That reminds me of because America is the Roman Empire 2.0, revised Roman Empire. They do everything to model after that, the old Roman Empire system, because it's ironclad. The Roman army was that ironclad. That was their strength. That ironclad army they have. So for him, it's very symbolic for him to use those words. It's ironclad despite, because America is Rome 2.0. Everything is done the same way. From the two-party system, the Senate, they had like the plebeians and the Felicians. That was a two-party system back there. Now you have the Democrats, White House, Democrats, and Republicans. And they sit in the Senate, which is the White House. Same thing. Sorry. Let's see. Continue here. President Joe Biden said Wednesday that I already read all that. Despite the growing criticism from Washington and its allies' actions in Gaza. The White House also said Thursday that the U.S. has communicated with Iran that it had no involvement in the strike in Damascus, just like the same incident that happened with the in Moscow, and the same incident that happened with the boat, the Baltimore Bridge. As soon as it happens, we didn't do anything. Man, the same playbook all the time, just different names change. Same playbook. Let's see. And warn Iran not to use attacks as a pretext to escalate further in the region or attacks U.S. facilities or its personnel. So let me read that again. Let me just slow it down and read that again. The White House also said Thursday that the U.S. has communicated to Iran that it had no involvement in the strike in Damascus. So they're denying any responsibility or any part of it. And warned Iran not to use this attack as a pretext to escalate further in the region or attack U.S. facilities or its personnel. So this is the funeral for the 7 slain here, I believe it is. Yeah, 2, 4. Yep. Yes. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has held telephone conversation with the Chinese, Turkish, and Saudi counterparts. And that's so interesting because in Ezekiel, you got all these nations right now. You got Turkey, Libya, Ethiopia, all these nations. But all these nations here are a part of the, well, not Turkey yet, but they're all the BRIC system. So that's who they to make it clear that escalation is not in everyone's interest. That all countries should urge Iran not to escalate. So let me read that again, because sometimes I think my eyes plays tricks on me. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has held telephone conversation with his Chinese. Notice what I'm saying, because all these nations, I quoted earlier, all these nations will be drawn into this war, whether they like it or not. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has held telephone conversations with his Chinese, Turkish. Remember, Turkey is part of NATO, but it just closed. It shows you right here, and that is Ezekiel 38 chapter in prophecy, because it mentioned Gog and Magog. Russia is the modern day Medes and all its allies, and it named Turkey in the Bible, Ezekiel the 30th chapter. So it just tells you that is a fulfillment of prophecy. And Saudi counterparts to make it clear that escalation is not in anyone's interest, and that the country should urge Iran not to escalate. That's one-sided, by the way. We have also engaged with European allies and partners over the past few days and urged them to do as well, to send a clear message to Iran that escalation is not in Iran's interest. I digress a little bit, just a little. It's not in the region, it's not in the region's interest, and it's not in the world's interest. But you see, they don't understand, because it is the Lord that is stirring up all these armies. They think that the power, it comes from them. They think they're the ones with the power, but the Lord is the one who elevates. He sets up a kingdom, and he takes down the kingdom. Actually, you know what? Some of the precepts are coming to mind, but I'm just going to Daniel 4 verse 17 really quickly, just to show you that Lord rules in all these kingdoms. Daniel 4 verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones. Just going to whip through it, just to the point. To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. See what it says? To the intent that the living, talking about the people on the earth, may know that the Most High, Yahawah, ruleth in the kingdom of men. Okay? And giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. And when you go into that word basis, it means the lowest of men. And those are the ones who's ruling the earth right now. Vile, low, that's what that basis of men means. Look it up. It says, but British Foreign Minister David Cameron said that he had made it clear to Iran's counterpart that the Islamic Republic must not draw the Middle East into a wider conflict. Let me just go to see if I can find it really quickly. Bear with me for 1 second. I think it's 2nd Ezra I'm looking for. 2nd Ezra 15 verse 28. So listen to what it says here. It says, British Foreign Minister David Cameron said he had made it clear to Iran's counterpart that the Islamic Republic must not draw the Middle East into a wider conflict. Now, let me read this for you right now, because this is all prophecy. If you're not a believer and this don't make you believe, there's something wrong. It says, behold, this is 2nd Ezra 15 verse 28. Yes, Ezra is in the Apocrypha. It is part of the Bible. It was removed by these demons, call themselves the Biblical Destruction Society, because it tells a lot in the secular history world, and a lot of our history was removed. It says, behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. All these Arab nations are coming out to join their allies to fight. And this is prophetic. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. they all which hear them may fear and tremble, because all these nations, they're going to come up. And this is why this is all prophetic. See, I am deeply concerned, and you should be, about the potential for miscalculation leading to further violence. See, this is why they don't know the scriptures. They're not the ones who are in charge of this. It's the Lord who's stirring up all these nations, because the Lord is the one who puts them in the power seat in the first place. You see, let's go to Psalms 75, and we'll close out fairly soon. Psalm 75 verse 4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. The horn goes into power, okay? Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. Isn't that what all these devils are talking right now? It says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but Yahawah is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So this is why this has nothing to do with none of these leaders thinking that they are in charge. It's the Lord stirring up all these armies to fight, because it is his movie. It is his will. You see, the Lord, this is how the Lord is doing it. He's showing that he is the only power that matters. See, even what the Lord says in how he raised up Pharaoh, I think it's Romans 11:17. You know, for the purpose he raised up Pharaoh to show his power, and that's what YAHAWASHI is doing today. So we are in some very interesting times. I got another article here because it tells you all this stuff here. It says what? Qatar and Kuwait forbid U.S. from using their bases to attack Iran. So America has military bases on these premises. Okay, so now they're telling you what. Let me see if I can bring it up. Look at it. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Qatar and Kuwait forbade U.S. from using their bases to attack Iran. So all these nations that's mentioned here, they have all bases, American bases. Because the point is this: they're not, when all shit hit the fan, they're not gonna go against their Arabian brothers. That's a given. Qatar and Kuwait have informed the U.S. that they cannot use U.S. bases on their territory against Iran. See, they're showing their true loyalty, right? This move seriously reduces U.S. capabilities in that region. Qatar is by far the largest U.S. base in the entire Middle East. See, that gives them a vantage point for that area, right? And shown on the image below. It's a beautiful map. U.S. military presence in the Middle East. It tells you right here. Jordan have 3,000 men. Saudi Arabia, 3,000 to 4,500 men. Syria, 1,000 to 200 men. Iraq, 2,500 to 3,000 men. Kuwait, 3,000 to 4,000. Bahrain, 7,000. Qatar, that's the largest, 13,000. UAE, 5,000. And Oman, 500. Yemen conducted drone strikes against targets in this country. It's an interesting map here. So yeah, so all these places here in that region, the Levant, which is West Asia, America all have presence there already. See, so now let's go back because now, let me see if I can bring it back here. All these places are telling America, we don't want you in here. We don't want you using our bases. India uses travel warnings for Israel and Iran. See, all these nations are afraid now because, look at this. Ministry of External Affairs of India warning citizens travel advisory to Iran or Israel. That goes without saying because all these people are scared now. The ministry goes on to say, in a view of prevailing situation in the region, all Indians are advised not to travel to Iran or Israel till further notice, so on and so forth. So all these countries, they're all afraid. Gold, silver, and oil spiking. Investors believe serious conflict, Israel-Iran. See? Jerusalem Post, I read this one. It says, possible. Jerusalem Post warning Israel of nuclear strike. U.S. issues travel warnings to Israel. Attack at any moment. So yeah, it's coming. Barakatah YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. Call Halaim YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. France evacuates families of diplomats from Israel. So these people are not talking all proud anymore because they know it's coming. But it's the Lord YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI that's stirring up all these nations to fight. It is not their will. The Lord raises them up and he takes them down. These kingdoms are set to rule for a specific time. Then it's the kingdom of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. But I hope you've been edified. Until next time I say, Lord's willing, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom.